welcome to my channel, Arhazo. And I am also the same Arhazo of the blog, arhazo.com, which is like a travel and language blog right now. And today I want to talk about what it's like being an exchange student. So we'll get with that right now. A bit about me: I'm from Toronto and I went to Hong Kong sometime in 2018, I guess August 2018, and I came back to Toronto in the January 2019, and it's still 2019 when I'm making this video, so it's been a couple of months ago. And I went there not knowing anything about Hong Kong, but I just wanted to go on exchange, and that was it. And I couldn't go to Japan, which was actually my lifelong goal, because I didn't have a 3.0 GPA, but Hong Kong's GPA requirement was really low, so I could do that. And so yes, it's been a while and I'm back now in Toronto, so I would like to talk about that exchange, because this channel has been showing a lot of traveling, and that was able to happen because of that period in Hong Kong, because otherwise I was not much of a traveler beforehand. So now, what is it like to be an exchange student? Well, the first thing for me, it was very freeing, and I'm referring back here to my notes because I can jump around topics and I want to stay on the schedule. I got to be myself for once because I was by myself. So when you come from a big family like me and you don't own anything and you don't really have space, not a bedroom, almost didn't even have a closet, only a quarter of a closet space, and not even a bed, I guess, mattress, yeah, I don't know, sharing, whatever. Basically, my life is not my own. But when I went on exchange, I got to figure out what it was like to be on my own. So I was in charge of not only my own groceries for once, I was also in charge of the decoration, and I got to freely express myself that way. So if you look in my room before, I think I have a clip here, and you can see all the things I put up, and it was very much, I don't know, I thought it was very freeing to have your own self-expression around the room. One of the things I'm most proud of was the grocery shopping. But when you're with the family, you don't have a say. There can be junk in your home somewhere. Someone brings it to you, and it's kind of harder to resist, and it makes it harder to prepare meals with health in mind, because it's just all random things brought together. So what I was doing whenever I went shopping on my own was that I planned what I was going to be eating, and I didn't do much cooking, but at the same time I was much more conscious. It was much more conscious of what I was bringing into my dorm. Okay, so I wasn't really perfect on that, but there's something I learned. See this basket of junk? Yeah, I think there's a pattern of me going crazy with junk when I'm really sad or stressed. Mostly the stress is school related. Wow. One of the most freeing things I was able to do while I was in Hong Kong as an exchange student was travel. I didn't have to explain to anybody or ask permission or anything. I just left. I went to Hong Kong. Of course I was in Hong Kong, but I did travel within Hong Kong, but I also traveled out of Hong Kong because my visa allowed me to come back in during the duration that I was given. So I went to Japan during my reading week. I also went to Thailand, I went to South Korea, all these places. And then I got cut off. So as I was saying about freeing or freedom, one of the things I realized about exchange students is that they all go and travel. Nobody's staying behind. Everybody's taking the opportunity to go. And it's not just in Hong Kong, because before I left, I heard about people who were in Europe and they were traveling around Europe for their time there, for their exchange. So it's not about studying there. And if that's what you think it's all about, then I think you might be missing the point. Wait, pause right there. Okay, so it's a little cold out here, but I have to interrupt the video, and it's windy and I don't have proper mic. So if I heard someone say what I was saying there, I would have been really mad, because I'm like, okay, that's you can do that because you can afford that. But the thing is, I can't, but I somehow did. I've always wanted to go on exchange, but every year I never did because of the money that it needed. Difference was in my last year of uni at U of T, I decided I don't care, I'm gonna apply, and then we'll see, we'll deal with the issues later. Oh, this hair. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna deal with the issues later, I was like, my fourth year, because I was coming back for a fifth year, I was like, I don't care, I'll see what I can't deal with later. For now I'll apply, because it's just because you apply for a program and you get in, it doesn't mean that you're legally obligated. It's a good thing to continue when you are accepted, but it's not like a binding thing. You can always say, I'm sorry, I can't do it because of XYZ. When you're applying through exchange to the university, there's a lot of funding, so you just have to know how to apply for that. So for example, I'm from U of T. I went to U of T, so I applied through the CIE for the bursary, and through that I got 4,500. You just really need to know how to show that you actually need something. So like I applied to the CIE. I also applied for OSAP, and the amount that I got from that, I'll have it up here because I cannot remember the amount myself. And I worked that summer too, and I think I got like 3,000 to 4,000 from that summer alone. And there's one other source that I'm actually really embarrassed about admitting to, but it would not make sense that for me to have traveled so much if it weren't for that. But without that other source, I could have traveled, but just not as much. So that last source is family, because we had to pay. We had to show that we had a deposit of like $4,000 to $6,000 before getting accepted, so that they could see that we could actually take care of ourselves. And where did I get that? I guess it's like my parents' savings, and I accidentally ended up using it, which is actually what I'm very, very, very much ashamed of doing, because I didn't want to do that. But yeah, it's gone, and they told me it's okay, so I used it up. And then the other source, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was it. So without those like 4 streams, probably would have been like a little less. Yeah, it would have been like 4,000 less. But that's how it was for me. So I think I should specify, because money is a very touchy topic, because I understand I don't have much of it. I'm stuck living in the living room, sleeping in there as my bedroom right now, and it's not like all my debt disappeared when I went. I just made the conscious decision that I was going to take advantage of the time there, not hold my money back, not penny pinch for once, but just to live, because experience, you cannot buy that. So the debt was always going to be there, but the experience would have been lost. So that's how I did it. Maybe I can talk about this in depth another time. The next thing I experienced while on exchange was life. So I feel like I came back to life, because in Toronto everything bad was happening there, and because so many bad things were happening, I just kept staying in my mind. Everything about me was just really kept in, like really dug deep, because it's like a crutch, a safety cushion, because a lot of people are, I guess, angsty in the city, and you can see fights or arguments break out within 2 seconds in the city, and it's not pretty, and I know that, so I just stay in my mind. And also I already know the street, so it's like every time I'm trying to change up my routes. So if I would go this way, I would go, like next time I would zigzag all the way up, basically keep changing my routes just to get to the same destination. That was me trying to make my old new feel like it's new, but it wasn't. It was just the same superheated, and it wasn't as exciting anymore. So there's that going on, me feeling suffocated in the city. I was also dealing with a failed business and the debt that I had to deal with then suddenly. And because I was trying to prove at that time that I could do something more and not live under the poverty line, So now I have this thing that says to my parents, like, yeah, see, you cannot do business. But for me, it's like frustrating dealing with all this debt, on top of dealing with school, on top of dealing with a program I never felt like was for me anymore, and dealing with the people who I thought supported me but really did not care. So there's all these bad negative things tied with my own city that was really, really, really not helping me. That I feel like each day was just me climbing deeper and deeper into this well, trying to push out everything, and I was very disconnected. But when I came to Hong Kong, however, I was much more connected with myself, with nature, with everything, because it's like you can hear, you can see, you can smell everything. It's like all the senses are activated. You know, there's this one sound that I can't forget. It's like the street when you're crossing and you can hear that sound. Yeah, so in Hong Kong, I just got to reconnect with life. Now, the next thing about my experience was that I felt like an explorer in Hong Kong. Like, you know, I don't know how to explain this. I'm gonna try it anyways. One thing I tell people about Hong Kong is that it's magical. It's just like Republic City after harmonic convergence in Legend of Korra. If anybody knows that reference, then please comment below, because everybody says they don't understand what I'm talking about. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. But if you've seen Republic City, it was all buildings and just like structures. But then after harmonic convergence, it was just like there's these ancient trees all over the city. That's Hong Kong. It's ancient and at the same time it's very new. So it's that magical mix, and you can turn anywhere and you'll find something. So in Toronto, the streets are very, I don't want to say real well planned out, but they are very predictable. Usually they're all like rectangular in shape. Whereas in Hong Kong, I could never predict. It can go up, it could see where it leads you to, because it can turn this way. It could be like a delta, you know, those points where in the river, and then suddenly goes this way, that way, 5 ways. Like, look at Causeway Bay. You can see a street that goes left, that way, and that way, and that way, and that way. That's interesting to me. I want to see things that are not predictable. It can be a tiny street, it could be huge. I don't really care. It's amazing. And one of the things is that when you're going shopping in Hong Kong, the stores don't really have like a door, like an entrance way you come through, but rather it's like a step up. You take a step up, and then it's just openness, and sometimes you see escalators. I went up random escalators to see where it would go to, and I found malls I would never have found otherwise. And like, I know one of them I could never find it again because I didn't know where I went. 2 of them actually. So it's kind of magical. You just see where it takes you, and then find a mall that you never knew existed, and you can try new things. I feel like that's exciting, you know, not being able to know when you'll find something, so you just try things. As an explorer, that's how I found one of my favorite places, which is in Kennedy Town, right behind the swimming pool. There's this like shipping yard where you see like stacks and stacks of crates and stuff of like wood and bamboo or something. I don't know what it is, but it's basically it looks off limits. But when I was exploring around the area, there's an area where people are just fishing, but I saw people were walking their dogs into this gated area, and I was wondering how did they get in. So I followed a couple of people. This place ended up being the place I kept coming to every time I was sad or stressed, mostly because of academics, because I wasn't doing so well at the time, and I'll talk about that later. There's a McDonald's nearby, so I would grab chocolate ice cream and sit down here by the edge, look out into the water, and it calmed me. And I used to come especially more in the last few weeks of my exchange because I was sad to go back home. Just as I was talking about happiness, look at the rainbows and the sunshine. The sunset. Like, how often do you see backgrounds like this? I mean, this place is like 5-10 minute walk from my dorm. It's been my place of calming, place that instills calmness when I'm having crazy thoughts or loud thoughts. I wouldn't have done this in the past, but I've been here so many times. I'm finally feeling safe enough to just sit like this. said my piece. It's time to go. I've talked it all out with the water. It's so windy. Okay, the last point was cut off, and basically was talking about courses. And with courses, yeah, you want to study, you want to be there to study and also do well, but also you want to take advantage of the country you're in and just travel around. So it's a balancing act. You don't want to overly study at the same time. I mean, okay, let me take it back. I did study, I did a lot of work. Every other exchange student did a lot of work, but I think I did a lot more because the courses I took, because I didn't really do my research, was actually much harder. So I did math, and yeah, some people are gonna be like, you're an idiot, you went to Hong Kong and you expected math to be easier. I expected it to be the same or even maybe a little bit less harder, but it wasn't. And that's a problem on me, but it's okay. I don't regret it. I don't regret it, but I think that some people should actually, if you can, look into it, because I think the people who are doing business, a lot of people are in business majors, and they did fine. Their programs were much more easier for them to handle. I was doing math, so I failed 2 of those classes, and then I had to repeat another 2 math classes when I came back to U of T. I wasn't supposed to come back for that semester, but I did, and I did because of that. So that was what was stressing me. And even the prof told me himself that I think you should drop this class because this is not your level. And yeah, I was, but at the same time I knew that with exchange I wasn't gonna have my bad marks follow me back. So I failed out of 4 classes. 2 of them I failed. The other 2, one was Cantonese and the other was African relations study, Africa-China type of class. And those 2 I passed, so I could only bring back 1, and language classes were not allowed to be brought back for credit. So it ended up being, out of 4 classes, only 1 credit came back with me. I don't really mind. It was towards the end, and I had to redo 2 math courses in my semester at U of T. So that was the main stressor for me, and that's mostly because at the time I realized I didn't want to do sciences anymore. It's not for me, but I had to complete it. Because I was so close to my degree. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So if you can pay attention to the courses that you're taking, and make sure you're taking the right stuff. Like, do not go for a harder program. You want to go somewhere where it's easier, but at the same time I don't think it should stop you from going, even if it is harder. I don't know, it's up to how people react to it. If you are okay with failing, or depending on the place. I don't regret it at all. I really do not regret it. I like now somehow I managed to graduate, and so I'll take that. I'll take that. So those are I guess that's it. Yeah. And that's it for this video. I know it was pretty long, so thank you for watching it. If you found it pretty insightful or useful or anything, just give it a thumbs up. You can ask me questions in the comments or just DM me on Instagram. That freedom is one of my core values, what I really, really want in life. And I applied for funding everywhere that I could. And so, there's through the CIE, which is U of T's International Center of International Exchange, they had a bursary program. I applied for that. There's scholarship programs. There's like the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Program, whatever. If you're in Canada, you can check that out. I'll leave a link below. There's so much ways that you can do, like that you can get scholarships and stuff. I got my funding through the CIE, and when I applied, I made sure to really let them know that I was in need. So I had to go all out with my application. No, nothing was hidden. Sometimes it's just like when you don't think much about your problems at times, because it's just like, yeah, it's normal, it's life. But when you're applying for things, you really want to use these normal things. You gotta bring it all out. So mentioning that, I come from a big family, immigrants, nobody's working, my dad, and stuff like that, everything, bring it all out. still travel. You can still do it. I feel like we need to stop saying we can't with everything when it comes to finances, and sometimes just apply it and see how the process opens you up to opportunity. Because if you are always saying you can't, you're never gonna even fight for the things you want. So you have to actually try and see where it goes. So